And we're live. Welcome to the All Balls No Filter podcast, live from the cabin kitchen. I'm Zach, he's Brad.
Hi there.
And behind the scenes, we have a man that once ran a 7-second 40-yard dash downhill. It's researcher Cal.
Oh, bless him. I love that we started with these titles as in, like, been really nice and positive and kind of, like, express, like, you know, bigging him up, but now it's just, like, pure ridicule, and I love it. I'm here for it.
Oh, I mean, there might be a few nice ones. I've got to find the nice ones is what it is. I've got to find the nice ones out is what it is about him. These are just all facts.
What do you mean, find them? I'm going to say that it's absolutely factual about researcher Kel.
Exactly. I've got to try and find nice things. These ones are less than nice things. But anyway, mate, how are you doing today? How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I feel a bit detached from reality this last few days. It's been a whirlwind of a few days, but yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. Just as normal, just plodding along. You know how it is, mate. How about you?
I'm not gonna lie. I'm full of it. I'm coming down with the dreaded man flu from what it feels like. So I want everyone just to take a moment of silence. Feel sorry for me because it's here. So I'm just going to quickly give you an apology in advance that if you hear me sniffling, I'm going to try my best to not do. All right. But we're soldiering on. We're here.
I'm pleased, though, that time when you were like, oh, if you hear me sniffling, I apologise, and you didn't actually put the big snort in before. We always do a bit of a pre-show, like before we start recording, and Zach say, oh, I'm really sorry if I sniffle. Me and Cal are just like, what on earth is this carnage?
Look, you know, we've got to do what we've got to do. I'm here, I'm trying to clear myself out, but we're all good. Anyway, Brad, what have we got in store for today's show?
So we'll start off by, as always, getting the world's smallest violin out for Zach, and then we'll quite swiftly move on to the headlines, I guess, that are coming through from the week. I think a bit of a weird one this week because a lot of the headlines are going to sort of blend into some of our off-season topics. Obviously, we've got the combine to touch on. We've got sort of some trades starting to come through. We're leading up to that free agency, and of course, coming with that are cuts, trades, tags, etc. And then, as always, we've got our All of the Balls segment, and for the second time now, enjoyed it last week, we've got I Can't Speyk, where we touch on a passion of Zach and I's, the rugby league world. A jam-packed one, I think, but exciting nonetheless.
Yeah, it's, as always, got quite a bit to go through. So we're going to start off, get into it, the news headlines from this week. The Bears centre has hung up his cleats at the age of 27 years old. What's going on there? Drew Dolman, the centre from the Bears, has decided that he's retiring after, I believe, was it 5 years in the NFL, which is a shock. I think weren't really expected across. I might be wrong there, but weren't really expected. This is news that's come in the past couple of hours of us kind of prepping for the show, so it's still relatively fresh for us. But yeah, Bear Centre at 27-year-old hanging his cleats up. We've also got the franchise deadline ended 10 minutes ago, so we have got research Carl is frantically. You imagine like the hamster on a wheel trying to get power on the go. That's research Carl working behind the scenes now, getting more information about these franchise tags and what's happened, and if anything has happened. So we will bring them to you as soon as we can. And as well, we got the quarterback carousel. Some news throughout the show about the quarterbacks and about where they stand and what's going on with them. But we're gonna touch on that towards it. Brad, anything from yourself regarding the news that we've just gone on?
I think they're starting to come through now. This is probably I'd probably say this is my favourite time of the off-season. I actually think I prefer it to the draft. Like, the draft's so unknown in terms of what you're actually going to get out of them when you convert to the NFL, but the free agency frenzy is like kind of where it's at. You've got these names, everyone knows them, everyone knows the impact, and it's where it starts setting up that draft. The free agency is what really leads us to, okay, right, we've got an idea now what this team's actually going to do. So it's probably my favourite bit from like a logistical side of running an NFL team that I really enjoy. Obviously, training camp's great, but no, it's good that it's starting to come through now. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of mock drafts getting sent out there, which is it's always fun to see, and there's some outrageous ones that get put out. But kind of pick 101's pretty much nailed on, and the combines showing the other potentials, because obviously he didn't really take part in it, didn't Mendoza? So showing some other parts. We're going to get into the combine now. Just going to touch on this because the combine's now finished. We have had some quite big results as such with them. First of all, the Vanderbilt tight end Eli Stowers, I'm not too sure how to pronounce his surname, jumps a 45.5 right in the vertical jump. Now that's the second highest in history, is that. Now the first one was a guy called Josh Emotabebe. Anyway, look, his name, right?
Are you sure?
I googled how to pronounce it, and I've got it down here at the side of it, right? But yeah, he went to the Jaguars, and in 2021 he got the second high. He got the highest, vertical jump, and I think like 46 inch or something like that. So he's not too far off in Eli Stowers. But coming in here, that's a ridiculous. He was a 1.5 inch. Jumping 1.5 inch higher than everybody else in the class, which is ridiculous when you think about it. There's a still screenshot knocking about of the jump, and it's ludicrously high. Like,
I mean, it's not even just that though. He's actually set, I think, a record, isn't it? Since 2003 for the highest vertical ever at the event. But then add to that the broad jump, I think was 11 foot plus. Like it was just massive. I know he had the record for that as well. Like, he's just a machine. His 40-yard dash was 4.512, something like that. Like, he's just a machine. And when you think of that, he's 6'4" and 239 pounds, it's insane. Like, it's been a good few years for tight ends.
Yeah.
Is he top 5? Is he top 5 now? Top 10?
I mean, I'd go towards an outsider saying top 10, because the Travis Kelce and Rob Gronkowski era of, I know they're quite the back end of the careers now, but they've set a standard for the tight ends being these mobile, not just blockers, not just extra linemen, these agile hybrid runners, blockers, catchers. They've set that kind of stead for it now, and having someone that can come and do this, that can jump higher, like they can Randy Moss people if he needs to, and can run relatively really fast for a tight end, for a big guy, he's draft stock. As long as he can catch a ball, his draft stock's up and to the right for sure. Like it's wild to see. And Research Carl just popped it into his chat here, the picture. I mean, we'll try and get it onto his socials at some point, but it is mental how high this guy jumps. Absolutely crazy. For it. Speaking of his 40-yard dash, this has been like the fastest running back class in history of the combine. Not the fastest overall, but just for the running backs, which shows good kind of stock in them guys as well. The wide receiver class, though, coming through 4.26 by Brennan Thompson, the Mississippi wide receiver. It's just showing that there's a constant speed here. And the 40-yard dash for people like receivers and running backs is such an important key. And there were a video that got posted out around X, and it was circulating around X of Brennan Thompson and Xavier Worthy's 40-yard dashes together. And there's like, what is it, 0.04 in both of them, 0.05, sorry, in between both of them 40-yard dashes. But the stills look worlds apart. It looks worlds apart, and it's you look at the time 0.04 and you're like, geez. And you look at the stills of the video, and it looks massively apart.
It's mad though, isn't it? Like, because obviously we're talking about a completely different sport here, but we're both quite into our Formula One, as we've touched on in previous episodes. And when you get down to those milliseconds, we're talking like we're talking hundredths of a second here. So, 0.5 difference. And then in Formula One, when you're talking about like thousandths of a second, and it looks just worlds because of the actual speed they're going. Obviously, in this much smaller distance, significantly high speed athletes here. And I think we're seeing it more and more, aren't we? Like, it wasn't too long ago where getting sub 4.3 was huge, huge. and now it's happening every year. Like I think just they're becoming more athletic, more powerful every year, which is mad. It's mad.
It's the industry standard. You've got speaking of like the receiver side of things, well, not just the speed. You've got the Arizona State wide receiver Jordan Tyson, who's done 26 reps on the bench press, right? Which is great, absolutely fantastic. Like 26 reps on the bench press for a receiver, which is 9 short of Aaron Donald's record, right? And Aaron Donald is not a receiver, right? 26 reps on it at 225 pounds. Thank you, Research Cal. 9 shy of Aaron Donald. They're worlds apart when it comes down to position wise in particular. So this is a great showing now for the receivers coming out strong as well, not just fast, but they're coming out strong. So this combine has shown a lot in terms of the diversity of players. Is that the right word I'm thinking of there? Like just the different skills and what they can show, not just the standard skills that you'd think for a receiver or for running back and things like that. It's good to see it. It's exciting. It makes the draft more exciting because people's draft stock then becomes a lot higher. There's also
it's an interesting sort of week, really, isn't it? Because you see those names that are floating around, say like the low first rounders, and then suddenly because they're showing like pure athleticism, end up in that top end, like top 10, top 15 draft, when we know it doesn't always convert. Thinking about, Anthony Richardson, we might touch on him a little bit later, but he was drafted on very few reps in the college game purely based on his pure athleticism. I'm just looking now, the receiver record for the bench press, forgive me if this is wrong, it's just a real quick research while we're chatting now. It was set in 2001 by Kevin Casper, and it was 27 reps. So 1 rep short of the record there, which, arguably you'd maybe say Aaron Donald maybe underperformed when you start looking at the other positions. Yeah. But still impressive nonetheless, as a receiver, putting that sort of record on show. Yeah, brilliant.
Oh, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. But there's one main talking point that I want to take from this draft, and I think this skill in particular has sent his draft stock up and gone. That he's definitely moved up X amount of places. I think he's shown with this skill in particular, just of a diamond in the rough type pick here, and that's Jennings Duncan from Iowa. This man has to have the best haircut I've ever seen in my life. He has the big ginger mullet. If you haven't seen this guy's 40-yard dash, go check it out. In the NFL, it's that good. NFL reposted it in slow motion, and his hair's just bouncing. Absolutely, like the locks are going through. I'm all for that. Like, it's great. It is great to see. And like Research Card's bobbed a picture in there, and you can see a picture of him. Wow, I am all for this. Like, this guy here he brings this typical Texan look, if that makes sense. Like, I love this. He's my favorite. He's my favourite player from this combine, without a doubt.
That really famous Texan look, the ginger mullet.
Yep.
Worldwide known.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just something about it that gives that like outback kind of look. I don't know. He's my favourite. He's the guy I'm rooting for him in the draft. He should go 1 of 1 just because of the hairstyle on this. But that's the kind of the talk of the town when it comes down to the draft. We've hit the main points there. Just if you're
there's one guy we're forgetting here. There's one guy we're forgetting. I think, in my eyes, anyway. Like, I don't pretend to be a massive combine guy. I think we touched on it a lot last week. Sorry, God, we're doing that again when we're talking about last year and it was last week. We touched on it last week as to why we're not necessarily overly combiney people, but Sonny Styles. Like, the guy had an absolute beast of a combine for, your linebackers typically are not necessarily high value picks in a draft, but this guy's gone first across the linebackers in 2026. He's gone first all time among linebackers for the vertical jump, 43.5 inch. And then he's gone 4th all-time among linebackers for the broad jump. I think that guy, when we're talking about those who suddenly push their stock up from like low first round, second round picks to top end first round, I think you could see him going maybe even the top 10. For me,
where's he projected?
Is that sort? You know what? I've not necessarily looked since the combine. I know previously it was sort of like maybe a low end first and sort of into the second and third rounds, like maybe not third round, but a second day pick. Like your linebackers typically aren't those high value picks, are they? You look at your offensive tackles, you look at your quarterbacks, you look at your edge rushers. They're the positions that tend to get overinflated, and we'll probably see it this year. You know, there's probably one quarterback that deserves to go first round, but will we see two? Maybe. Those positions get inflated, whereas Sonny Styles, he's gone out and I guess done what the combine's about and what we've spoke about. Like you can massively help your stock, and he's going to be a first round pick, I think, after this weekend.
Well, and he's got his brother as well, hasn't he? His brother, is it Lorenzo? Who was a safety out there, and he's recording a 4.27 in the 40 as well. And obviously, you kind of expect a safety to be a bit quicker than a linebacker, but that's more of a showing for his brother Sonny of how good of a player he is when he's close to his safety brother's.
I mean, Sonny Styles is 6'5" and he's 244 pounds.
Jesus.
Like, but he's still crazy, getting that vertical and that broad jump. It's nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
At what point do athletes just stop? Like, because if you think about it, they're just getting better and better each year. At what point do they just stop? Like, at what point can they just not get any better than what they are? Aaron Donald, when he first came into the NFL, he was the specimen. He was the man to beat. And now you're looking at like the likes of like Max Crosby and people like that, and Myles Garrett and stuff, who are arguably on par with Aaron Donald, and they're not making him shine as much. Does that make sense? Like, at what point do athletes just stop being good at stuff? It's crazy.
Goddamn athletes, will you just stop being athletes already?
Yeah, I know, right? Stop putting all your life and soul and making us all look bad, But that is the combine there. Now, guys, if you are listening to this, by the way, and you want to see some of the stats actually on your screen, we have a YouTube channel, and Spotify, if you're listening on Spotify, shows the video as well. Please check it out, have a look. All the stuff's on there, so if you are listening in the background, you can kind of just a quick glance over and catch up to where we are. Just across all the socials as well, at ABNFPod on all your socials. Go check it out there. If you do find us on YouTube and stuff, hit the subscribe button and just drop a video like if you don't mind. It helps us out more than I can ever tell you. It's great to just kind of get us out on the algorithm. But combine's done. Draft stock's kind of getting done and dusted and moving around now. People are kind of getting there set in stone. But there's players in the NFL now that are either getting tagged, going to free agency, or getting traded. So I want to touch on a few of these guys, Brad, because since last week, there's been a bit of an update with the whole situation, and two players in particular, in fact, three players now actually just prior to the pod, and that is Kyle Pitts, Pickens, and Breece Hall have all been franchise tagged. Now, I definitely said two of these three was probably going to get franchise tagged, and one of them should part ways with the team because it's just not working out. I'm very surprised Breece Hall has had that tag put on him. As much of a good player he is, and I think obviously the Jets know he's a great player, but I don't think he's right for the organisation. I just don't.
I just think they're starting again, aren't they? Like, they're going to have a different quarterback. The rumour is that Justin Fields won't be there next year. He wasn't good enough this year, and I'm not necessarily a anti-Justin Fields guy. You tend to get like two camps with Justin Fields, and I'm probably quite comfortably in the middle, but I thought he had potential there, to be fair, but it just wasn't right. I mean, the Jets organisation as a whole is a shit show, and the season was like that anyway, but I think having a running back like Breece Hall, who's still young, he's got potential. I think the tag's a good move. I think you kick the can down the road for another year at least. Maybe they'll re-sign him. Who knows? I don't know. But they've got him for another year at least. Maybe they trade him. Maybe they re-sign him. But it just provides a bit of a foundation for whoever they get in to play quarterback, to be under centre. You need that run game there. You need someone who can play to support that, and I think the Jets need that. So I don't think it's a bad move, actually. It's probably quite a sensible move from the Jets, in my opinion.
I mean, it'd be a kick teeth if he came up against them at some point for another team and just ran riot over him. I get it, and I get it's a smart move. I just think, as like the Darnold and the Baker Mayfield history shows, I just think sometimes a player can not be the right fit for the organisation. Now, talking on like Justin Fields, he kind of falls into that same category of, and we'll talk about that in like the Kyler Murray situation, which is not as good in my opinion. But with Justin Fields, it shows that promise for like 1 quarter every 3 games. But that promise that he shows that for that 1 quarter every 3 games makes people trust that he's going to have this amazing season, and then he just does the stupidest things for the remaining 3 quarters, and it just all goes downhill for it. But there's going to be.
Go back 6-7 years. Go back 6-7 years, and you're talking about the Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Well, yeah. Like
it's the same thing, isn't it? Like you've got a guy who was in the Bears when they were a dumpster fire, is now at the Jets, and they're a dumpster fire. Like, get the guy in an organisation that has the right team around him and knows how to use him. Maybe he'll have an opportunity, and we're seeing that more and more. Yeah, and that's what we need now, isn't it? Like, it's just the way the league is. So we've seen it with Mayfield and Darnold, the two that you mentioned. He's just not. I don't think he's had the right team around him. Yeah. And there's researcher Cal piping up. He was 4-2 at Pittsburgh and he got benched. Yeah, fine, he was. And there's probably a lot of politics behind that move. But Steelers weren't the right organisation around him either. Like, he needs to go somewhere with a good offensive mind around him who's going to drive him forwards, like Darnold had over the last 2 seasons. He had KOC, Kubiak, and they've driven him forward. And look at him now; he's a Super Bowl champion, which you'd have never said that however long ago. He left the Jets now.
You're right. No, you're right, mate. And I'm not a Fields hater. I think Fields has the potential to be better than a lot of QBs, and again, it is that fit when it comes down to it. And I do. Speaking of QBs, though, one QB that hasn't been franchise tagged, but he's been transition tagged, is Indiana Jones himself. Daniel Jones staying at the Colts for at least 1 more year. What can they do? This transition tag, by the way, is worth $37.8 million. So they're looking at this knee injury that he had. He's not going to be coming. So it's a weird one for me, is this, because when he had this knee injury, he's not destined to be coming back for the start of the season. They've already told Anthony Richardson that he can look for a new club, seek a trade. So what do they do as starting QB for their week 1 game? Because Daniel Jones is not going to have a preseason. He's not going to have a minicamp prior. It won't be at OTAs. Like, what are they going to do week 1? And if they've only tagged him for a year and he comes back mid-season, he's got to get back into the swing of things. If you're making a playoff run with a QB that's got you there from week 1, what do you do with this? Now, don't get me wrong, it's pennies, isn't it, for them? But
I think it's a really clever move again. Like, I think with these tags pre-free agency and the moves we're making so far, maybe not all of them, but I think it's a really clever move because you've got Alec Pierce, who by all accounts is potentially a franchise tag. So you've got that toss up. Who do you franchise tag? Who do you transition tag? So just for clarity for those who maybe missed last week's pod, I'll go a little bit more into detail. You've got 2 types of franchise tags, and then you've got a transition tag. So you can use I'll put my teeth in. You can use 1 franchise tag, and you can use 1 transition tag. Now the difference basically, or the main difference, is the franchise tags are worth more money. One of which then, if they are then sent to another team or signed with another team, you get compensation back from that team. So it's effectively a trade. Whereas the transition tag is you are paid a top 10 salary as opposed to a top 5 average salary. But what essentially you can negotiate with another team. Another team gets a chance to say, I'm going to offer you this much money. And then the host team who's placed the tag, so the Colts in this situation, can basically say, yeah, we'll match it. If they don't, there's no compensation. So I think for the Colts, it's really, really a smart move in that you can essentially give Daniel Jones, who basically has done something similar at New York Giants, where he had one really good season and then the rest of his career was bang average. And at the Colts, he started really, really strong and he got injured, but he's going to miss part of the season. So realistically, how many teams are going to want to pay him what the Colts are essentially saying we're willing to pay you, which is just sub 40 mil, which in my eyes is probably where he's worth. With the QB market, we've looked at a lot of quarterbacks now in the 40s and 50s. We know it's gone silly. The salary cap's gone up, so then you could argue, well, those salaries are going to be inflated even more. So actually, I think it's a really, really smart move.
Yeah.
Now, we've got Callum piping up in the background here saying you can only use one or the other. I am sure he's wrong. I'm calling him out. I'm sure you can use one of the 2 franchise tags plus 1 transition tag. I'm almost certain on that one. So if I'm wrong, call me out in the comments because I'm almost certain I'm proving researcher Cal wrong on this one. I can see him squirrel away in the background. He looks so panicked. You guys can't see him, but his face looks panicked. It's brilliant. But I'll die on that hill.
Imagine that. So going on with free agency, you touched on the fact it could go to free agency, which I'm with you here. I do think it's a smart move by Indianapolis. I think if they do draft a QB or get a younger QB in and then he struggles, Daniel Jones is there to help him out. Plus, he'll be on the sideline and on the sideline at training to kind of give him that bit of experience of that playbook that he's had for that time. But speaking on the kind of free agency where he could have gone to, there is some big names pretty much set and confirmed to be going to free agency. 2 in particular is Trey Hendrickson and Kenneth Walker. Now, that the Trey Hendrickson one for me is wild that they're not doing something with him. Having put in all the money into the 2 wide receivers that they have done. They've been an absolute shit show of an organisation after putting the money into the 2 wide receivers. You want to be keeping some sort of backbone to your defence. Surely you do, because he goes to somewhere else like the Ravens or something. Wild.
It's balmy. I think that it's such a weird free agency class this year because there's so many players where you're just thinking, oh my word, like why are you not signing these guys? And on top of that, with this, like I just mentioned, the salary cap going up, teams have got more flexibility. So I just don't see it.
No,
I just don't. No. I don't understand it. Sorry, I just don't get it.
We've got some more to touch on in free agency in a second, so I don't want to go on too much about that one. The next big storyline from this kind of trade cycle that's going on, Dave Montgomery on the move. He has moved to the Texans from the Lions. The Sonic and Knuckles partnership with Gibbs is over now in Detroit. He's moved on for a 4th, a 7th, and the offensive lineman Juice Scruggs. What a name, by the way. But moved over. It's probably a smart move. Get a few more reps. The Texans were kind of, they needed that veteran running back when it comes down to that pack that they had, and I think that's where they were weak in all fairness. But I think it's a good move. I think he gets more reps that way. He's never going to be running back 1 while Gibbs is at Detroit, especially after how Gibbs performed last year. So yeah, but any thoughts on that, mate? Any thoughts on that trade?
I think it makes sense for him. What did they used to call? Was it Sonic and Knuckles? They used to call them, or something like that.
Yeah, Sonic and Knuckles.
but I think it was kind of always in, in the shadow, really. I think I've had him in fantasy a few years, and I know, like, fantasy is not the real world, but it's probably a true reflection of kind of what he's like as a player and what he could be. Even as, would you argue he's an RB2 or is it a true split backfield? I'd probably say he's like a 1.5. But he's got an opportunity now to go and be a 1. And I think for someone like CJ, who has been a little bit under fire, really, he's had a really good season and then he's been bang average, moments of crap. And there's a lot of rumours that he was going to potentially be traded, and they've now said no, he's here, he's staying. So actually, to have a running back like Montgomery who you can use him, you can really use him. Is he a 3-down back? Probably, I think he could be. Arguably, I'm not sure if that would.
I just think it brings that veteranness
into that.
It brings that veteran mindset into that backfield. But I think it's a decent trade, and I'm looking forward to more trades happening. We've got Jerry Jones, though, on the kind of hunt next. Jerry Jones has come out to the press and said he's going to be aggressive in this free agency, and he's decided to go in and he's restructured contracts for Dak, for CD, and for the guard Tyler Smith, making about 66 million free in cap space, which he's come out and he said, like, we're attacking this free agency quite hard because they think they're close to doing something. Again, for the rugby league fans out there, the Cowboys are the Warrington Wolves. It's always our year, and then they underperform somewhere down the line. And I think Dak Prescott played really well last year. He did. And so did CD, as he always does. They've got Pickens now, which they're now franchise tagging. They've got that kind of set there. If they're going to start smashing that free agency, they need to be getting it's now or never for them, in my opinion, because they need to do something with it. If not, people like CD are going to start looking around and jumping ship, in my opinion, with that. But we will soon see. You know what Jerry's like? He does drastic things like trade his best defensive player away for 1,000 picks, and look what he did there. But mate, I'm going to move on to free agency right quickly. Okay, touch on the free agency rumour mill that is knocking at the moment in time. So, Commanders set to release. Now, all this is what we've found on research, by the way. A lot of it's per Adam Schefter. So if you don't agree with it, don't believe it, go speak to him about this. Commanders are set to release defensive back Marshawn Lattimore. The Cardinals are set to release Kyler Murray. The Chiefs are set to release one of their main offensive tackles, Juwan Taylor. We've got the Vikings set to release Aaron Jones and their defensive tackle, Javon Hargrave. And the Dolphins are rumoured to be releasing Tua after the 1st of June. Now, pretty big names there. The QB market's up in the air. Kyler Murray linked with the Vikings that I've seen so far. Anything from you when it comes down to these names here?
I mean, I'll go to the obvious first of all. Not just Tua, but Kyler as well. I think it's a really weird year this year because you've potentially got 3, 4, 5 potentially quarterbacks who teams could sign in a year where the quarterback draft market isn't at its highest. It's pretty poor generally, comparatively speaking. And let's just use Tua as an example. You've got the Dolphins who are going to say, fine, all right, we can't find a trade for this guy, so we're going to take the hit. We'll take on his contract. So you will be able to, as a team, sign a guy who is out to prove that he can play. So he will sign on a league minimum contract without a doubt, because he's still getting paid his 50 mil over the next, 50 mil for 2 years, and he can play for next to nothing. You could sign him, arguably, although I don't think he would. You could sign him to a 2-year, league minimum contract. Now, arguably, he's not going to do that. He'd probably sign a 1-year league minimum contract, hopefully play for another contract and make big bucks. But same with Kyler. You've got a quarterback who, just like Tua, have had flashes of greatness. You know, they both can play, can't they? Like, they are a start. Both of them, for me, are NFL starting quarterbacks in the current climate and the current market, but they're just in positions in their careers where teams are ready for a reset and they're ready to move on. So, you know, you look at the Vikings, you look at the Jets, you look at the Steelers, you know, a number of teams who are potentially in the market for a quarterback who can start from day one. And I think you've got two here. I've seen the same research. Carl's typing in the background that he's seen rumours of Jets and Kyler Murray. I've seen the same things. I don't think that's a bad fit. I don't. Like, you know, give them a mobile quarterback.
They've got one
who's maybe better than Justin Fields. I'd argue he's better.
I don't know, me. I think he's been better. I think if you put Justin Fields in the Cardinals, I think he does equally as well. I don't know, actually. I don't know. I like all three QBs. I do like a mobile QB kind of fit. But let's fast forward 12 months. We're in the off season of next year, or give or take. Where do you see these three QBs, and how do they fit? Where do these end up?
In the exact same scenario that they're in this year. I think the vast majority of them, maybe not Justin Fields. I don't know his contract details. I don't know how much of his money was sort of front loaded in that 2 years. But I see Kyler and I see Tua in the exact same scenario. I think they will both get signed. I think they will both see starting reps. I'm not necessarily saying game one, but I think they'll both see starting reps. And I think they will both be in a position to re-sign somewhere in some capacity. You know, look at Russell Wilson. He got ousted from the Broncos. He was earning big money, signed a league minimum contract at the Steelers, and then moved on then to New York. And all right, it didn't work for him, did it? But he was in basically the same position a year later. Because he played okay, like he played all right at the Steelers. He wasn't the Russell Wilson of old, but he played all right. Yeah. You know, I could see Kyler or Tua in KOC's offense, for example.
I think if either go to the Vikings, they beat JJ McCarthy to that starting spot. Because I don't rate JJ McCarthy. Yeah. I just don't rate him at all. I think Tua in particular would definitely get a starting spot in the NFL. I don't think the Jets would take on Kyler because of the experience that they had with Justin Fields. And I understand. And thinking of it, yes, you're probably right. He's a better QB than Justin Fields, but the similar attributes to both QBs, you're kind of replacing like for like. If Kyler Murray was leaps and bounds above Justin Fields, then I could kind of understand. If it were Lamar Jackson, who's another mobile QB, for instance, but he's leaps and bounds better than Justin Fields, going into that, then I could understand. But I just don't I put them both C-tier QBs, and I just don't see why they go from one to another on that front. But that being said, I do think in particular, out of all three of them QBs, I think Kyler Murray and Tua in particular get starting roles elsewhere. Where? I don't know. And I think potentially it's only a starting role due to an injury. Let's say Kyler Murray goes to the Steelers as a backup and A-Rod stays for another year. A-Rod goes down, Kyler Murray gets that shot, and then he's there for another 2 years, for instance, because he did well in that back season because he's got good people around him. That would be kind of my prediction when it comes down to them two more than anything else.
Do you think Aaron Rodgers will be at the Steelers next year? Like, it's a weird one, isn't it, this year?
Yes.
Because he kind of had the Steelers over a barrel last year, in my opinion. Like, Steelers went all in on him, basically, didn't they? And said, we're just going to wait for you to decide. But I think he played well. I think he was absolutely fine. But he wasn't like, he didn't set the world on fire. Like, do the Steelers really need to hang around for him? Or is it more that the QB draft class this year isn't great, so we'll ride out for another year with A-Rod, and he knows the organisation. He obviously knows Mike McCarthy. So we'll do another year, we'll kick the can down the road, and then we'll look to draft someone next year where the class looks a bit heavier on the QB side. What do you say?
I think if they're not drafting a QB, if they keep A-Rod, they're not looking to draft a QB next year. They're looking to trade, because I think A-Rod gets them in that mid to late draft pick category, right? Which, if you want a QB, you want top 5 pick. You're not going to get a top 5 pick with A-Rod as your QB, because you've got the people around him like Metcalf and stuff around him, who, as shown through a lot of this season, how well they've played together. I do genuinely think that put A-Rod here. I think A-Rod stays for one more season, sees how they get on, see how they go throughout it. I think if it's not going well by like Christmas or just before Christmas, he pulls up injured or something along the lines of just not good. Just before that trade deadline, they're bringing another QB in or something. But I do see him being there, and I don't see him drafting a QB. I see him trading for a QB at the end of next year rather than drafting for one. But then again, if A-Rod doesn't come in and then they put someone like Kyler in, for instance, they've got that opportunity. So have they still got Mason Rudolph? Is he still a thing there? Like
yeah, he is.
Yeah, so they've got a choice then of either Mason or Kyler, for instance, who, if it works, happy days, you found your new franchise QB because they're both relatively still young. If it doesn't work, you've got a relatively high draft pick. That'd be my thoughts on it anyway.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that, to be fair. I love that we've got researcher Cal in the background going, oh, they've got Will Howard too. It's like, no.
Sixth round pick, who's he? Gear. I'd do a better job. Have a word.
You know what? I really want researcher Cal to get on this pod at some point and have a voice, but actually I'm quite enjoying just ridiculing him. He's got nothing to come back with. It's brilliant.
We can say what we like about him. It's fantastic. Nobody else knows what he's saying. It's absolutely great. But that's like the current rumour mill of the free agency and the touch on the trades and the franchise tags and things like that. Hopefully we haven't missed anything too much. If we have, let us know in the comments. We're only human. We don't pretend to be experts. We just like to talk football and all sports. That being said, guys, I spoke to you earlier about heading over to all of our socials and hitting follow, like, subscribe and all that jazz. But that being said, we have a little off-season plan for the pod, and that includes potentially getting a guest in and getting somebody else in to talk sport, whether it's football or whatever, to talk sport and to chill with us and give some really outrageous takes. Now, we want some recommendations off you guys. Who do you want? Realistically, who would you like to see on the pod? Do me a favour, share this to them, tag them in the comments, tag them in any of our social posts, or even if you want to drop us a DM with your recommendations as well, and then we'll go chase them up. They don't have to be creators as such. They can just be sports fans that want to chat and talk sport. Like we just here for that. I think
we want to interact. We want to interact, don't we, with like the normal guy, the normal person, the normal lady. Like that's what we are. Like we've made this podcast because we enjoy talking crap about sport, obviously, especially American football, but other sports as well. So I think if you're into sport, if you're into balls, and you want to jump on the pod and have a chat with us, then please do. Like we're all ears, and we'd love that opportunity. We had again, just because I'm in the mood to ridicule him today. We had researcher Carlin in the background doing the little emoji with the man with his hand up like this. Said, please, sir, I'll speak.
Wait your turn, boy. Wait your turn. Say what, Cal. When you get 3 or more stats right, we might consider it. But anyway, talking sport in general and talking other things other than American football. Bloody hell, I can't Speyk today. We're going to get into it, Brad. Let's talk some rugby league.
Speyk.
Get him off, ref.
Let's.
Right. let's talk rugby league. Now, this is something that you're going to hear a little bit more of going forward. The rugby league season started. It's a passion of mine and Brad's, and to be fair, we've had some good feedback about talking rugby. Now, this is rugby league, and we're going to recap from this week's scores and headlines from this. Now, first things first, what on earth is happening at Hull KR? The champions have had the worst, I think I saw it on BBC News somewhere, that they've had the worst start as defending champions in Super League history. Now, they lost 58-0. It's a long way to travel if you're an away fan, by the way, because this game was in Las Vegas. They played Leeds in Las Vegas and lost 58-0. Now, I'm taking nothing away from Leeds because Leeds looked good, but Hull KR looked poor. Absolutely poor with this.
They're sitting at the bottom of the Super League table. They are I know they've got a game in hand, but they are quite literally sitting at the bottom of the table. Counter that with Warrington, who have also got the game in hand. They're 5th. So you can't just sort of say, oh, yeah, we ain't got into the rhythm. They went out and they played really well against Brisbane. So, have they just put all their eggs into that basket and they want that title? They want to be the champions of the world. So therefore, they've sacrificed the week before and after. Maybe. You can't blame the travel because Leeds absolutely trounced them. And it's just, they've just looked woeful. I mean, to get beat by York, first of all, who have started really strong. Like, don't get me wrong. They've had 3 games, they've had 2 wins, one of which we'll touch on. You'll be able to see it on YouTube if you're looking there. Absolute drop goal kings you are by all accounts. But as defending champions of Super League, the grand final winners, you can't come out and lose your only 2 for starting league games. You just can't.
No. Do you not think it's wild as well? If you finished the start of the season, right? Start of the season come around. Hull KR have just won, and then they were dominant last year. They were dominant in the NFL, in the Super League last year. They were really good. Start of this year comes around. You go right. First 3 fixtures, you're playing York, you're playing Leeds, and you're playing Brisbane. Okay, you're gonna win one of them games. Which one are you gonna win? Oh well, they're gonna beat York. No, they beat Brisbane. Of all the 3 teams there, they beat Brisbane. And they played really, like you say, they played really well against Brisbane. I just think there's something at the moment, Research Cal flying in there, that it's the first defending champion since 2016 to lose both opening games. Ironically, the team that was before them that did that was the Leeds Rhinos, who absolutely trounced them this weekend in America. We'll have to see what this weekend brings, and the following few weeks to see what's happening with Hull KR there. See if they can kind of bounce back. Neither Hull team at the moment is looking anything fantastic, which is a bit of a shame. But we'll have to kind of keep it up from there. Now, classic ass. Are they back? I went to the game on Friday night. We look great. Look, this is a Patriots of this year. Where they played an easy team, okay? They played an easy team. They played the Huddersfield Giants, who look poor, look shocking. Now, I watched this game and I took my daughters with me. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and it was like watching the old cast of Darryl Powell's era. There were nice little pass-offs, little dump-offs. We were having fun when playing rugby, and that was the main thing to see. Did you end up going to the game? Because I know you were supposed to go.
Yeah, I did. No, I did. It was very, very last minute. One of the guys managed to sort me out with the ticket, who appreciate that, Oppo. But I ended up going quite last minute. I was working until 7 o'clock, and I literally bombing up the A1 to get there for kickoff. I think I missed the first 30 seconds. Well, maybe a little bit more. I met my friend Gaz, who kindly had gone to the bar, and I've got you a beer. And he met me just waiting to go up the steps, and I just heard the crowd go, and I heard it, so I missed the first try. Caught it on the replays, but I just thought, it was. I mean, a couple of things, like talking about polishing a turd, like the old girl, Weldon Road, the jungle.
She looks ace.
The one ball, whatever it is now. Like, she looks great. Like,
yeah.
You've definitely rolled it in glitter. There's work to do. We all know that. We want the new stand, but She looks great, and the work the club have done it is brilliant, and there's still work to go, and I love that they're actually responding to feedback. Like, the food's been crap, and they're responding to it. Like, we won't go into that rubbish, but the atmosphere down there was great, and to say it was just shy of 7,000, which isn't amazing, but actually when you looked around that stadium, I bet 6.5 were Cass.
But
and
yeah,
in a population
anyway.
of 40,000, no, like Cass has got a population of around 40,000. So when you think just shy of 7,000 were there on a Friday night against a poor team like Huddersfield, that's it's not bad. To say the season we had last year, we've done better and we'll do better. Like, I think what I loved was it was like watching that game against Wigan. Now, the score was completely different because it was Huddersfield. Like, let's not pretend that's not the case. But the passion was there. The desire was there. The guys were having fun. Is it Ashton?
Ashton Golding.
Like, he had an absolute storm, and he came on for Hood, didn't he, who picked up an injury. And God, it was his debut for Cass, and it looks like he'd been playing there for like 3 years, and the crowd is behind him. You can just see already he's going to be a fan favourite.
Yeah, against his ex-team, the team that didn't want to sign him, let him go. He came on, and he's a chunky lad now. He put some of the old timber on. I'm not going to lie to him. You can tell he hadn't been playing for a while, but he came on and I said to me, because I went with my mum, you see, took my mum and girls, and I said to my mum halfway through, as soon as he walked on the field, you could see as soon as he walked on the field, he would bring you some energy. And we were X amount of points up at the time. He didn't necessarily need to come on and attack. But I said to my mum, I went, he's playing for a contract here, and you could see it every time he got that ball, he was hungry. Every time he got that ball, he was hungry. And that try that he scored, where he burst through line and he's not going down, fantastic. He was great. And like you said, the atmosphere was great. It was lovely to see. It was nice to be back down. Yeah, great all around. And
you know, it was for me, and I'll only sort of, we don't want to bias it towards Cass, but we've kind of got to, as fans, haven't we, a little bit. We've got to acknowledge that. But it was just really, there was a few things that really stood out for me as a off the field. I mean, it was on the field, but as a non-performance side of things. You had Weaver, who had a great game. And, you know, that spine on game one looked fantastic. And the Taffy injury was unfortunate. And we've made some moves, and it still looks relatively all right. I think if it plays more together, it'll really develop. But a few things that stood out for me. You had, until most of the players had gone in, and as we're walking out, there's Weaver still down in the corner taking pictures with the fans, like long after the end of the whistle's gone. You had the coach who he'd not done the usual Darryl Powell walking across the field clapping the fans. He'd clap the fans, but he was making a target for every single player. There was a hug, there was a pat on the back, there was he went out of his way to literally, as far as I could see, every single player. And it kind of just backs up everything that Cass have been putting out on the promos. And I think, you know, even if you're losing, no one wants to lose, but it's year one of essentially a new project. And I think if you're seeing that passion and you're seeing that drive, people will get behind a team if you can see where it's going. It's not what we've had the last couple of years, but my first instincts from pre-season, from the social media stuff, and I know you can skew socials, and then just what I've seen in the flesh on Friday night, it's going in the right direction. I think there's the right people in place. I hope it continues.
Same. And you talk about Weaver coming down to the corner. Well, that's where I was sat, in that corner of Printer Street there, and I got a picture with him, with my two girls, my mum, and it was like the girls wanted to go down, and they were shouting for Cass all game. Like it was fun. They've been before in the past and they didn't enjoy Cass games. They loved that Cass game. They want to go again. They wanted to go and meet the players, so we went and stood there for 5 or 10 minutes at the end of the game. And he came over, got a picture with us, and we were right in the corner, and he started on the halfway line and walked down, and every single kid that were there he got a picture with. Like, because the kids are what the next generation are. And so you can imagine, all the way down to me, and you think he's getting a bit sick of this now. Same energy to what it was. Bear in mind, he just played 80 minutes of rugby. And he's same energy from the start. Great to see. long live it. Let's hopefully we're not talking next week when we've just been trounced. Hopefully this week we play Leeds, which is going to be a tough one. But we'll see. We'll see how we get on. Moving on to the next team, who now have the world's best pie because Wigan look unbeatable. They look. I couldn't believe that. I think I texted you on Thursday night going, have you seen this score? 54-0 they beat Lee. Now, Lee are a good team, right? But Wigan, we're going to take some beating this year. We're going to take some beating. I'd be surprised if I lose a game this year. They were unreal to look at. They just looked smooth. They were getting to the point where they were just playing. It looked like they were playing Lock Lane. Like they were just playing some Sunday League stuff, just bopping about, having some fun. Yeah, it were adults for kids at weekend for them.
92 points difference over 3 games. 92 points difference over 3 games. That's just for context. That's 20 points more than second place Rhinos.
You only get 4 points for a try.
It's over 60 points more than Saints, who are in third.
Jesus, that is, if they can maintain that level and consistency, they're walking it. It'll be a walk it, but they've got to keep the red because they look absolutely incredible. But a team that doesn't look incredible that normally does, one half of the French teams, Catalan. Their struggles are continuing, losing 36-4 to St Helens. Now, St Helens are a good team, but Catalan were at home. And Catalan at home is a hard place to go, and win. And Saints went over there and just did that. Don't know what's happening here. There's the Toulouse and Saints Toulouse and Catalan rivalry now for who's going to be that number 1 French team. Toulouse did lose this weekend as well to a decent looking Bradford, but Catalan just haven't got going yet. They've got nothing. They've got no zazz about them at the moment, and it's a weird one to see because normally, I know Tompkins don't play for him anymore, but normally you associate that Catalan team with Sam Tompkins now and having that fun and just looking like a strong pack and a tough pack to go and beat, and now they're just not. It's a wild one. Is that one for me?
I don't think anyone had predicted Toulouse being above Catalan at this point. You got Toulouse in 6th and Catalan down at 11th, which you just wouldn't have expected. I'm really looking forward to that derby game though. Like that's going to be, I feel like that's going to be a real close game, even if Toulouse are like continuing to do well. And I think it's just going to be one of those like absolute like smash, whack, wallop, to use the comic book terms, like sort of games, physical, probably not that high scoring, just real impact driven games. I can just see it in the French teams.
I think it'll be the busiest we've ever. Obviously, it will be the busiest we've ever seen the French stadium as well. The French ground. It'll be. I think the atmosphere will be electric. I think it'll be great to see. I think I'm really looking forward to it. Now Toulouse, on the other hand, who came out and ran right against us, lost to Bradford this week, which I'm very, very, very surprised about. I'm not taking anything away from Bradford because Bradford played well. I did manage to watch a bit of this game, and Bradford looked solid when they were playing. Toulouse just didn't get going, and I'm very surprised about that. Is it because Toulouse were on the road? Because when they looked great against us, but we were on the road. We had to go over there. Now they were going to Odsal, which is never an easy place to go because it's always -4, even in summer in Odsal because it's that far underground. But like, I don't know. It's a strong result for Bradford. That is a statement. Is that from Bradford? It's a big statement.
It was an interesting one. Like the thing that I took from the game the most, and like not to be superficial on it, but after the first Bradford home game, it was a night game, wasn't it? And actually, it looked cool. Like the stadium was lit up well. They had all the showy stuff going on, but you couldn't see all. You had your main stand where you could see because it was lit up, but then you couldn't see all the sort of bowl around it. And then this game obviously wasn't a night game, and you could just see how horrendous it looked and how empty it looked. And it was like, this is coming from a Cas fan. We get it. But it is, God, it's an awful ground. It is awful. And that looked horrendous for telly. When we're talking about like IMG ratings and stuff like that, that is a turd, and it's not been polished. Actually, no, I'll give them credit where it's due. Actually, Bradford have done a lot of work to that. But it still looks awful.
It's not ideal. Is
it?
I
mean, as a team though, like you say, I didn't expect them to take this victory. I thought Toulouse were probably going to be a bit more physical, but credit where it's due. I mean, you got Bradford, Toulouse, and York in the top 8. Bradford 4th, Toulouse 6th, and York in 7th, which is nuts.
I am so surprised at the start of this season. I'm really happy with how it's going because I think it's going to be a really exciting season. Now, you mentioned York being in the top 10, York, and
7th,
right? So York 7th, getting into a final. I Can't Speyk headline. The drop goal kings that are York Knights. Second game this year that they've beat a solid team as well, via a drop goal. Now, don't get me wrong, this drop goal didn't come in the dying seconds. It came first half, I believe. Paul McShane passed it out, as you've seen him do plenty of times for Cass. Passed it back, drop goal went over, just solidified the point there. But the score finished 17-16 against Hull FC. Now, excuse me, Hull FC are a team that are known to have a strong pack, to be a physical team, to hit hard, tackle hard, and play hard. And York bet them, and I think it's so good to see. How long York can keep winning by a point, I don't know. It's one of them, you're winning by an inch or a mile, you've won a game either way. Like, I don't know how long they can keep it up for, but it's so good to see that these teams that have been promoted are coming in and being like, hey, show us some respect, you know what I mean? We're here. We're not just these, we haven't just been given this opportunity. We're here.
I mean, you've got York, who they've beat KR.
Yeah.
They've obviously just had the victory this week, and their only loss comes to Leeds, who've just absolutely spanked the world champions. They've got Wolves next, I believe, and then I think it's Wigan after that, not counting the cup. So I think that, they've got 2 tough games ahead of them. I think those 2 games are probably going to show really what they're about. You'd have thought that to come from Hull KR, but let's just try and give them benefit of the doubt. World Cup Challenge coming up, blah blah blah. But you've got next 2 games. You've got Warrington, who are 5th, and then the Warriors, who we've spoke about already. So I think the next 2 Super League games, anyway, I think I've got Keighley, I think, in the cup. But the next 2 Super League games are going to be definitely tougher. So it'll be interesting to see how they go with those.
Yeah, it will. It will, and I hope it continues. I really do. I hope it continues in terms of this kind of progression throughout it. Now, there was a team that missed out on getting promoted to the Super League last year, and that was the London Broncos. Now, and the reason why I'm bringing these up, I know they're a championship team, but they played the week just gone against North Wales Crusaders. And if you remember the first time we brought up the rugby league thing, we spoke about the Hull KR and Loch Lane score, which ended up like 104-10. I don't know, something, whatever it was, along the lines of that, right? And them divisions are, one's a full-time team, other one's a Saturday afternoon team, and they just happen to play each other. Well, London went and played North Wales Crusaders this weekend. Same division or same league championship, right? And they beat them 106-18. Now, if that's not like we should be up there, why are Huddersfield Giants up there type thing? I mean, I know it's North Wales, but North Wales have recruited. I mean, Greg Eden plays there. He plays there, doesn't he?
Have you seen the stat though? So the score was 106-18, and within that, for the Crusaders, Greg Eden had a hat-trick.
Oh, did he really? Oh,
seriously, yeah. So I saw this tweet, and I'm in a group chat that it's like a Super Brew league, so a bit like not quite fantasy league, but you do your predictor scores for every rugby league game. And I put it in there as this tweet. I'll credit him. It's Masonhurst18. So if you're on Twitter or X, Masonhurst18. So Greg Eden scoring a hat-trick while also conceding 106 points. Can take the man out of Cass, but not the Cass out of the man. It just... I loved it, but it's mad. I mean, the score was like 58, 58-6 at half time. But I think more than anything, the score's ridiculous, but I think that's more a testament to like London I think London had every expectation to be in the Super League, or if they knew they weren't going to be in Super League, they are they'll be in the Super League next year. I can't see how they won't be with what is obvious that Rugby League wants out of Super League. Obviously, there's new talks again about the NRL or the bosses of NRL putting offers into Super League, and God knows how that'll go because the sport's absolutely corrupt and nuts when you look at the top end. But as a sport, we love it. But if London aren't in Super League next year, then it's just going to be nuts to see what they do in the Championship year after year.
Yeah, if you are new to Rugby League's a M62 corridor sport, and it always has been. It's and they wanted to kind of expand. That's why they brought the likes of Catalan in to begin with, and they looked at Toronto, and that never worked out for obvious reasons. And London have always been a team that have been in and out over for as long as I can remember, and I followed the sport pretty much all my life, and they've always been that team that goes in and out from where. From what there should be, and forever they get this opportunity and then they lose all the players. And I think now they're at that kind of time of the club where it's just, I agree they should be in, but at the same time, I'd struggle. I mean, other than Huddersfield, I struggle to take anybody else out of the Super League at the moment that don't deserve to be in there for them. But yeah, I'd be excited to kind of see how this goes. With it, to be quite honest with you, I'd be kind of really excited to see how it goes. But that's the Rugby League roundup. I can't speak. Get him off, ref. I can't. That's the. I can't. I mean, I love this feature. I'm not gonna lie. So that's the Rugby League roundup. We've got a couple more.
Just for context, if you don't know the reference, just get on YouTube and just search Rugby League. I can't speak. It'll be the best 2 minutes of your life. Seriously.
Cass Wigan, 90. Is it Cass Wigan 90 something? I don't know. It's great to watch.
It is Cass Wigan.
I'm going to try and get that soundbite. Yeah, I'm going to try and get the soundbite is what I'll try and do. But we've got a couple more segments to go through first, mate. We've got All of the Balls and we've got a new one coming to the show. Now, All of the Balls is a favourite of ours. It's something we do quite a lot. It's something we do every week. Brad, do me a favour. Just tell the lovely people what all of the balls is, please.
I shall. So, All of the Balls is where we touch on all the other sports around the world. Now, we have obviously touched on Rugby League. We've got our I Can't Speyk segment now, but we'll touch on other things. Now, I won't lie to you. I've come in dry on this one that... This isn't anything to do with balls at all. Not only is it not to do with balls, it's not even to do with sport. What the hell is going on, Zach?
Right. So this is my. I said to Brad, we're not doing anything. We're not doing all the balls this week. Right? Just let me run with this, please. Right? Jim Carrey. Right.
I've seen it.
Have you seen this Jim Carrey conspiracy? I need to get my tinfoil hat out is what I need to do. So there's been an award show, right, where Jim Carrey's won, is it a Lifetime Achievement Award or something? Now look, the pictures of Jim Carrey, that ain't Jim Carrey, I'm telling you now, right? That ain't Jim Carrey. But there's a guy that's come out, and I believe his name's Alex... Well, I better tell you exactly. So I was looking on the guy's Instagram earlier on today, right? And his name is Alex Stone, and he's a mask maker, right? He makes these like these rubber masks, right? And he's put a story out going, yeah, it weren't Jim Carrey, it was me all along, and he's shown Jim Carrey's face mask on a mannequin. this is wild because Jim Carrey's kind of kept. I mean, his publicist has come out and said it was Jim Carrey at the award show, but Jim Carrey himself just sat there doing nothing. But if you look at this picture, if you look at the at Jim Carrey's face, this ain't Jim Carrey. I'm telling you now.
Have you actually seen it though? Like, obviously the Alex guy, like, he makes masks. It's obviously a social media thing to get attraction. Jesus Christ! But it's like, what I think the thing that gets me is that Jim Carrey all these years has been like anti-Hollywood. So there's loads of rumors that obviously he knows about the whole like Epstein stuff and all that, because he's like, if you look at some of his old awards, I guess not that old, like actually in the 2000s and then the 2010s, when he's winning stuff or he's up for awards, he's kind of like almost anti-establishment when it comes to Hollywood, and he says things, and it's almost like he's saying stuff to tell people, but without wanting to get killed. And then he's obviously always been like anti-face work, and it's obvious he's just ended up having this face work done where he's like emotionless. You know, what they used to call him, like rubber face, didn't they? Because his face would just be like all over the place. Whereas now it was just like, there's just nothing there. Sorry, I just hit my mic. There was nothing there. And it's like, it's just mad, but it was great. Like, it was great publicity from the Alex guy.
Research Cal just put into it the mask. I'd heard like one of the I went down a really deep rabbit hole on this, by the way, and I'm looking on profiles that have had all these wild conspiracy theories. Anyway, this is just a big marketing ploy because there's a new Mask film coming out, and it's like, I'm like, look, I could kind of believe the rubber like mask thing, but when he speaks, it's going to be Jim Carrey, you know what I mean? But I agree with you saying like he's had this work done, and it looks like a caricature. Big like boulders underneath his eyes for his cheekbones. It's like he's had a Brazilian butt lift in his face, right? And it's all of he's always had them. They're not wrinkles, are they? But they're like, because of his face being quite rubbery, where he does like he'll do a facial expression, and you can see the creases in his face. He's always had them. They've gone now, like, and it's just absolutely balmy to see. So, yes, there's no balls in all of the balls other than on his cheeks, but I just thought this story is too wild for us just to not sit and talk about for 2 minutes, mate. It is mental. So
stupid.
Yeah,
stupid.
So I apologise for telling you to not get on all the balls. This was the reason why. We are now going to move on to our new segment of the week. For this week, we've got something fun. It's called the multiverse trade, Brad. Right? So, with this, what I'm going to do is I've got a task for you, should I say, right? And with this, you're going to get a random athlete from the world. You can choose who it is, whatever shape, size, or whatever you want to do with that. And this athlete, you have to put him into an NFL position and tell me why. Okay, I've got one lined up, ready to go. A player, a position, and why he would suit that position. Now, look, I'm going to give you about 60 seconds to do so and explain it to me why. But if you want, I'll go first. Give you a bit of a example as to what the feature's about. So,
okay, I'm excited.
Now, with this, I went a little bit out of the box with this, and I thought, I was trying to think. Obviously, you got your obvious ones, who can be who and who can be what. Now, hear me out. I've gone for Erling Haaland. Okay? Now, I think, and I don't think you're going to think, sorry, where I put him, I don't think you're going to guess. But to begin with, Erling Haaland, I think he would be a perfect edge rusher. All right. Now you put him out on the edge, and here's my reasons why. He's like, what is he? 6'4", 6'4", all 6'4" of him, and he's fast. Now you put him on the edge, on the outskirts. As soon as that ball snaps, he flies round. You know, and even if he's getting held up by any sort of offensive lineman, his gangly arms, because he's a long guy. He's a long guy. He could just get around, get himself in there. You know. Like reach round for the QB, stop the run game, things like that. When it comes down to it, I think, you could probably put him out wide and use his height there, but I just think because he's strong. He's always been that strong physical build of a man. He's always manhandled players in box, hasn't he, if you think about it? And I just think putting him out wide there, put him in someone like Dan Campbell's the Lion, and he'd be like the Nordic wrecking ball or whatever. I just think he'd be perfect there for me. So my multiverse
ball.
So my multiverse trade is getting Erling Haaland from, I think I actually pronounced his name wrong to begin with as well. Erling Haaland from Man City, fetching him over to the NFL, getting him on the Detroit Lions as an edge rusher. There's my multiverse trade.
I'm mostly intrigued by that from the financial side of things. Like, what the hell is he getting paid at City now, and what would he be getting paid at the Detroit Lions? Like, I see it. I'm just not sure if he's like, I mean, from football terms, is in like soccer football terms, he's quite a machine, really. Isn't he? He's tall, he's powerful. But from an NFL point of view, is he a D end? I don't know. I see the rationale. He's fast, he's explosive, he's long, he's gangly. I get it. I just don't know if he's got that weight side of things. Whereas my guy.
Okay.
My guy. When we're talking about weight, whether it's his weight or the weight that he shifts.
Okay.
Eddie Hall. Guard.
Okay.
Okay. Come on. So Eddie Hall is the world's strongest man champion in 2017, right? He's won Britain's strongest man, UK's strongest man, England's strongest man 1 million times over, however many times it is. I don't know. He is an absolute beast, as in he is the beast. So he first set the record for the deadlift. He was the first man to lift half a ton. 500 kilograms this guy lifted.
Jeez.
And I'm there, like, I'm out of shape as shit at the minute. I'm back to the gym and I'm there like, oh, please, let me push these up a little. And he's there deadlifting 500 kilograms. Like, it's absolutely balmy. So I'm talking like Eddie Hall 2017 time here as like an offensive line. I'm thinking a guard. So this man absolutely moves stuff. So I'm just looking at some of his records here. In the log lift, it was a 213 kilogram record. The axle press, 216. A raw squat, 405 kilograms. A bench press, 300 kilograms. Put this guy on my line, and I will go nowhere other than behind him. And he can take me wherever the hell he wants. I don't even care if he's slow as shit. No one is tackling me.
That's my only concern with him, is his athleticism and his speed. But being guard, I suppose you don't really need to be that fast when it comes, unless you pull him, but you're not going to pull him that much. But I mean, Research Cal just chucked a picture into our little group chat here of Eddie Hall in some pads, and he actually looks smaller in pads than what he does without them. I don't know how that works.
He does, to be fair, doesn't he?
But like, I love it. I love it. And I would love to see that matchup between the edge rusher and the guard. Like if he came on the inside of a little crosser or something, and the Haaland Hall little rivalry going off. I mean,
Give me Eddie Hall over Haaland anytime.
See, you say this, but I've got the reach. I've got the reach of Haaland. Eddie Hall's got to get to him first. His little stubby arms got to get to him. The reach is there for Haaland for me.
I dare you to say that to his face. Say that to his face.
Maybe one day. But yeah, the multiverse trade is there. We've got the 2 picks in: Erling Haaland, edge rusher, and Eddie Hall, the guard. 2 very similar positions as well. Hey guys, if you like this little concept we've done here, a little bit of fun, let us know in the comments below. Who would you have as well? We're going to touch back on this in a few weeks' time. We'll get some more ideas and stuff swinging through. But we're nearly at the end of the episode, which means one thing is coming up, and that's Carl's conundrum. Now, we had a comment off of on our Spotify, basically saying, if anyone gets this Carl's Conundrum without using Google, they're a better man than me. All right, and we're going to touch on last week's Carl's Conundrum first before we go into into this week's. So, if you don't know what Carl's Conundrum is, first of all, we'll give you a question that'll go on all of the socials at ABNFPod. You can then get involved, answer it, drop it in the comments, do whatever you want to do with it. Don't cheat, don't Google. No one likes it when that happens. And then we'll touch on it the week after. So last week's question was, which player holds the record for the most reps on the bench press and NFL scouting combine with 51 reps? And that was Justin Ernest in 1999. So some time back, but if you got it, well done, bravo, good on you without using Google. Nice little in the... I had no idea, I'm not going to lie, Brad. I wouldn't have got that with 100 guesses, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. But... you know, it is what it is. Going on to this week's Carl's Conundrum. So, your Carl's Conundrum for this week is, who is the highest drafted kicker in NFL history? So, who is the highest drafted kicker in NFL history? Have a think. Let us know. This question will get put out on all of our socials, our stories. So do me a favour, share it if you can do as well. Get your friends involved with it. It'll go in there. And if you've got any idea, let us know in the comments below. Who is the highest drafted NFL kicker? Sorry, who is the highest drafted kicker in NFL history? Now, I've got no idea with this because as soon as it comes out of like the second round, I couldn't tell you who's who. Like, unless they're notable names. So I've got no idea with this. But then again, I've got no idea with any of the Carl's Conundrums because I just don't. I've got no idea.
I feel like it's every week. We just say it's like, yeah, not a clue. Anyone else?
We've done our research for the episode. It's the guys at home's turn to do some research. You can let us know. You can give us some knowledge. So who is the highest drafted kicker in NFL history? Let us know on there. But Brad, that's it. Episode done. Episode 10, actually.
10. It's been emotional. Oof.
Episode 10 done and dusted. Anything you'd like to say before we sign it all off?
Yeah, no one cares about kickers. And that's about it. So thanks for tuning in as always. Don't forget to catch us on socials at ABNFPod. Please subscribe. Please comment. It's not just us nagging. Seriously, like, we want to interact. We want to get ourselves out there a little bit. And if you're interested in joining us on the pod, please do let us know. We're genuinely open to anybody and anyone who feels it can contribute a little bit. So we definitely want to hear from you guys. So, yeah, thank you. Thank you as always. Cheers, Zach. Cheers, Research Cal. And look forward to being back here next week.
Right. Stay safe. Good night. God bless. And peace.